Story 60, my wife says it's her body, her decision. I, 35 male, met Kate, 35 female, at a friend's house party when we were both 28. She was everything I wanted, smart, beautiful, and sharing my dream of building a family. We dated for 2 years before getting married in a small ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. We wanted children, and we'd talked about having at least 2 kids as soon as possible because we were both in our 30s and wanted to start our family before age became a factor. The first year of marriage was perfect. We both had successful careers, me in software sales, her in marketing. We bought a house in a good school district and started trying for a baby right after the wedding. Month after month, we'd get excited and then disappointed when the test came back negative. After a year of trying, we decided to see fertility specialists. The doctors found nothing wrong with either of us. They called it unexplained infertility and suggested we keep trying while considering options like IVF. Kate tracked her cycles religiously, and we scheduled everything around her fertile windows. The pressure was intense, but we both wanted this so badly. Finally, after 15 months of trying, Kate called me at work with the news, 2 pink lines on the test. I left work early and brought home flowers and sparkling cider. We stayed up late that night, talking about names and nursery colors. Kate seemed as excited as I was, already downloading pregnancy apps and making lists of things we'd need. The first few weeks were a whirlwind of doctor's appointments and planning. We told our parents at 8 weeks, unable to keep the secret any longer. My mom cried when we showed her the ultrasound picture. Kate's parents started talking about converting their home office into a grandchild's playroom. Everything felt perfect. I had an important sales conference in Chicago scheduled for week 11 of the pregnancy. Kate insisted she'd be fine, the morning sickness was starting to ease, and she had her family nearby if she needed anything. I didn't want to leave, but this conference could mean a promotion. We'd need the extra money with a baby on the way. The conference went great. I landed 2 major accounts and got FaceTime with the CEO. When I called Kate each night, she seemed distant, but I figured she was just tired. She mentioned our friends Jake and Lisa had invited us on a 2-week European vacation they were planning for the following spring. I reminded her we'd have a 4-month-old by then, but she just got quiet. We hadn't announced the baby yet, so Jake and Lisa didn't know Kate was pregnant. I came home 3 days later to find Kate sitting at our kitchen table, an empty wine glass in front of her. My heart stopped. Pregnant women don't drink wine. She looked up at me with nervous red-rimmed eyes and said she needed to tell me something. The baby was gone. She'd had an abortion 2 days ago. I stood in our kitchen, staring at the wine glass in front of her, my world crumbling. How could you do this without even calling me? I knew you wouldn't understand. It's my choice, she said, looking away from me. She refused to look me in the eyes. Our baby. My voice cracked. We tried for 15 months. We picked out names. You bought nursery furniture. This wasn't just cells, this was our child. Kate shook her head. You don't get it. I wasn't ready to give up our freedom. We can try again in a few years. Try again? You murdered our baby for a vacation, Kate. A fucking vacation. The words came out raw and angry. We wanted this child. We made plans. We saw the heartbeat on the ultrasound. Don't you dare call it murder. Kate stood up shocked and angry. It was a medical procedure. You're being dramatic. I slammed my hand on the counter. Dramatic? We tried for this baby. You were excited. You showed our families the ultrasound picture. How is ending a wanted pregnancy, not murder? Because it was growing in my body. She was shouting now. My life that would be put on hold. Our life. Our family. Our future. I could barely contain my rage. This wasn't an accidental pregnancy. We created this child together, planned for it, and celebrated it. You don't get to just erase that because Jake and Lisa invited us to Europe. Kate's voice turned cold. I don't need your permission for what I do with my body. No, but you needed my help to make that baby. 15 months of trying, remember? Or was I just a sperm donor to you? Someone whose feelings don't matter once you got what you wanted? She flinched at that saying. That's not fair. Fair? You know what's not fair? Our child is dead because you couldn't miss a vacation. A vacation, Kate. We could have gone next year or the year after. But no, you couldn't wait. You just killed our baby instead. Stop calling it murder. Stop calling it our baby. What should I call it then? An inconvenience? A scheduling conflict? That was our child, Kate. I saw the heartbeat. I heard you call it our little bean. I watched you download baby apps and buy pregnancy books. You can't just pretend it wasn't real because it didn't fit your plans anymore. This wasn't an abortion, Kate. You killed our baby. I walked out of the house without another word. I went to my brother Mike's place and told him everything. He let me crash in his guest room that night while I tried to process what had happened. We'd tried for so long to have this baby. Kate had seemed so happy about the pregnancy. I can't even fathom how she could make this massive decision without even talking to me. When I went home the next day, Kate acted like everything should go back to normal. She'd actually started booking our spots on the Europe trip. I couldn't even look at her. Every time she spoke about the future, all I could think about was the child we'd lost to her callous and selfish decision. The next few weeks were hell. Kate couldn't understand why I was so devastated. She kept saying we could try again when the timing was better. Our inevitable argument would end with her saying it was her choice to make. My parents were heartbroken when I told them. Mom couldn't comprehend how Kate could do this without even discussing it with me first. Dad just looked sad and said some bridges can't be rebuilt once they're burned. I started sleeping in the guest room. Kate accused me of being controlling and said I didn't respect her autonomy. But this wasn't about control, it was about partnership. It was about making major life decisions together, especially ones that affected both of us so deeply. We'd tried for this baby together, celebrated together, planned together. But she'd ended it alone. Jake and Lisa found out what happened and were horrified. They'd had no idea Kate had terminated the pregnancy because of their vacation. Lisa came over one night and angrily told Kate they never would have invited us if they'd known she was going to abort our baby for a stupid trip. The look on Kate's face when she realized she'd lost their friendship too, was the first time I saw her really understand the magnitude of what she'd done. After 2 months of painful coexistence, I finally told Kate I wanted a divorce. She cried, finally seeming to grasp that her choice had cost her our marriage. She offered to cancel the Europe trip and start trying for another baby right away. I was speechless at this point. How out of touch with reality can someone be? Every time I looked at her, I saw someone who could make life-altering decisions without considering my feelings at all. I just saw someone so shallow and self-centered they would end the life of our child for something as petty as a vacation. The divorce was quick and clean. We didn't have a prenup, but neither of us wanted to drag things out. Kate moved to a condo downtown while I kept the house after buying her out. Our friends mostly sided with me, though a few agreed with Kate that it was solely her decision to make. Those friends didn't surprise me. They were the friends she had who considered abortion an acceptable form of birth control. My brother helped me pack up the nursery furniture we'd already bought. Kate had ordered it the day after we got the positive test, too excited to wait. As I took down the crib, I found the ultrasound picture tucked in one of the boxes. Our baby had been real, wanted, loved, until a vacation became more important. Kate tried reaching out several times over the next few months. She sent long emails about realizing her mistake, about how she'd trade 1,000 European vacations for another chance with me. But she still never really understood. In her mind, it was her choice alone because it was her body. She couldn't see that when you're married, when you've planned and tried for a baby together, some choices need to be made as a couple. A year later, I heard through mutual friends that Kate had canceled the trip. She couldn't face it after everything that happened. She'd moved to Seattle for a fresh start, still single. Jake and Lisa had their first baby, a little girl, but they didn't invite Kate to the shower. I started dating again eventually. I was upfront about wanting children and about expecting partnership in major decisions. She was someone who shared those values and who understood that marriage means facing life's big choices together. She's 14 weeks pregnant now. When she told me, she said, "We're having a baby, not, I'm having a baby." That distinction means everything. We're now planning for a baby and a wedding. I think about the child I lost to Kate's selfishness. How old they'd be now, what they might have looked like. Kate's choice didn't just end a pregnancy, it ended our marriage and changed the course of both our lives. She got her choice, but the cost was everything we'd built together. Last month, Kate's sister reached out, not knowing my relationship status. She said Kate was in therapy, finally dealing with what she'd done. She'd realized she'd acted out of fear, fear of losing her freedom, fear of missing out, fear of how a baby would change our lives. Apparently, a therapist helped her see that making such a huge decision without me was a form of betrayal, perhaps worse than infidelity because we'd tried so hard for this baby together. One that she'd aborted without even considering the impact it would have on me. When I informed her sister that I was engaged and about to be a father, she got very quiet. After some awkward small talk, she congratulated me and wished me the best before hanging up. Kate's choice taught me that shared values about family, partnership, and making life's biggest decisions together matter more than chemistry or compatibility. Some choices can't be unmade, and like my dad said, some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. I'm happy now, building a new life with someone who understands that marriage means facing life's biggest moments together, not alone. I'll never forget those 15 months of trying, the joy of those 2 pink lines, and the plans we made, all erased by Kate's choice to act alone in what should have been our shared journey.
I only post new and unique content. Please like and subscribe.